To go back to the soft skills, a big part of all the learnings that I was able to like grasp from my time at Growth Tribe were because of the soft skills. So because I was most of the time patient with the people that I was training to understand really what they're going through in terms of like their job roles, their strategy that they're trying, the strategies that they're trying to implement and all that. So once you maybe sometimes like take a step back, try to understand what's happening, you can then move into the actual practical and technical stuff.
How do you differentiate digital marketing and growth marketing? Are they the same thing? Is growth marketing just a more kind of complicated way of doing digital marketing?
It's actually the opposite. It's a more simplified way of doing marketing and digital marketing specifically, but marketing in general. The difference is very simple. You have a customer journey that is customer centric. So you put the customer at the center of your strategy, and then you build that journey, you map that journey out, and you say, okay, what are the steps that my customer is going to go through from the second they become aware of who you are and what you have to offer at the awareness stage until they hit the revenue stage, they become customers, and even after that with retention and referrals. I think that's one thing that differentiates us at Growth Tribe, is that when we're training, we within the live sessions, we just I go into the tools and I show them how they can apply it.
Hey marketers, our podcast guest today is Alain Abou-Atmeh. He is a growth marketing strategist. He's a teacher at Growth Tribe and also a public speaker. We don't just talk about growth marketing in this episode. We talk about self-development, our favorite books. We geek out on tools. We also talk about the friction points of freelancing, of working full-time, working with other people. And on that, we're going to be talking about how he went from freelancing to now being a teacher at Growth Tribe, which is one of the more well-respected learning platforms out there in the topics of growth and growth marketing. We also talk about the importance of having soft skills in an age of artificial intelligence and automation, and why it's important. And of course, we're going to be talking about some of his favorite growth marketing tools, and which some of I haven't heard of, interestingly enough. Action-packed session. Please enjoy the podcast. Peace, my friend. What are you working on? Obviously, you work at Growth Tribe. You said you're kind of working on other projects. Are you looking to build a YouTube channel as well, or kind of build your personal brand?
So maybe a little bit of introduction as well. To transition into that. So I have a little bit over a decade of experience in digital marketing now, which is crazy to think about, because I still remember the first time I got the contract for my first job, which was a social media marketer. And when I started there, I really had no idea what to expect. So I graduated with a BA in management and a minor in finance. So I just was a very it was a very kind of generic diploma to have. But when I got the offer, I was like, you know what, sounds like something that I could try. And back home, it's never easy to find a job. So I just thought, I'll just be grateful and take it. And I learned a lot from the first 2.5 years of being in that job. Mainly, it's the soft skills that I was really grateful to grasp first, because I think these are now even more important than the hard skills. And we'll talk about T-shaped if you want later on, but they're very, very, very important for you to be able to, especially as a fresh graduate, to know exactly how a workplace can be, how to deal with your coworkers, how to handle clients, especially in positions like the one that I had. I was also kind of an account manager, so I handled up to 5 social media accounts for our company,
right,
at the same time. So,
and this was a marketing job, right?
This was a marketing job, yeah, social media marketing. So I did that for 2.5 years, and then I transitioned into an in-house job where I met Tara, actually. So we worked at a company that was in the music industry called Band Industries. And when I got the offer, I was like, you know what, I'm a musician, I love it. Let me go and see.
What do you play, man?
I play the drums. That's my main instrument.
Okay,
and
that's cool.
I've also picked up the guitar some years after learning the drums, and I just never stopped playing music. I do it as a hobby. I don't I don't it's nothing professional. When I was still in Beirut back home, we had a couple of bands. We toured. We did some really fun stuff.
That's
just
awesome,
locally. But yeah. So yeah, after getting that job, I learned more about like the in-house stuff, like customer support, blogging, content marketing, SEO, Amazon ad services and stuff. So there's a lot for me to learn, and I'm very grateful that I also got the opportunity to learn that. But I never became an expert in all of them, of course. So I just wanted to focus more on one or two things, and I found myself doing well in content marketing, especially like writing blogs and reaching out to fellow guitarists back then. So that was a lot of fun. After that, in 2019, I had already started freelancing. So alongside my full-time job, I was freelancing. So I had about 3 to 4 clients, and I thought, this could be a little bit sustainable if I quit my job and focus on that. I could start my own company. And I wanted to do that, and I took the step. I quit my job, but some months later, there was like a political, economical revolution back home, and it was really bad. I lost 4 or 5 clients, or 3 out of 4 or something. So I was left with 1 client, and of course I couldn't continue. So I left the country, thankfully found a job in Dubai, and I moved there. I have a brother and his family there, so I was also lucky to be able to easily transition into that phase.
Yeah.
And so I was a performance marketer at a media company there for about a year. And after that, I got the offer at Growth Tribe, from Growth Tribe, and I was like, yeah, dream come true, let's move to Europe. Yeah. And it sounds like a brilliant opportunity.
Do you mind if we talk about the, so you were in Dubai, let's maybe, because that's interesting to me. What's life like as a performance marketer in Dubai? Like, were your clients, because I've heard some good and bad about, the agencies in Dubai. What was your experience?
There's a lot of good and a lot of bad. It depends on, first of all, your luck. You have to be lucky. You have to find a decent enough company. But I was in-house as well. So it was a media company. It was a TV company, and they had their own like Netflix for Arabic and Indian series and movies. So it was kind of like a video on demand service that they had recently launched, and they needed a performance marketer for it. So I stepped in, and I think the job was okay. But when you work in a big corporate, there's a lot of politics. There's a lot of things that keep your hands tied. I was happy enough, but I wasn't feeling like this was gonna go on the long run, like for the long run. So when I got the offer from Growth Tribe, and I learned a lot from Tare on how this goes, and we were of course still in contact, and he had already been there for a year. I was like, yeah, you know what? I would love to train, and I would love to keep on learning. And next month is going to be my 4-year anniversary at Growth Tribe, and I can tell you, man, I haven't stopped. Thank you. I haven't stopped learning since day one.
Yeah. For sure.
And I've never ever experienced a position like this. Like I had 3 previous positions in my career, and this one, you never stop learning. You have to always keep on adapting. And the fact that you're in contact with new individuals and new teams and new groups, training them, you get to learn from them as well. So thankfully I'm still there, and just picked up my first freelance gig awesome, like 2-3 months ago, and it's been going well. So that's all of it in a nutshell. Busy thing. I think marketers always are quite busy. It sounds like to me you're quite entrepreneurial as well, in the sense that you kind of just don't follow the system. You want to kind of figure out, I can do this better. I can, live a better life, better salary, whatever that is. You mentioned a really, really strong point actually, which kind of made me think throughout this, the past few minutes we've been speaking. You mentioned about the importance of soft skills. And I really believe that. I won't go into some of the conversations I've had this week. But long story short, I had a pitch with a client, and he talked about me not having more than 5 years of experience with an agency. He was looking for someone with more experience. And then, cause I'm quite good at sales, because I don't see sales as me selling to you. It's like, you the client you have a problem, and I have a solution, and my thing is to kind of bridge the gap.
And so I kind of said a few things, and I think a lot of marketers tend to maybe focus on the technicalities rather than learning how to communicate, how to work with other people, client management and psychology. I don't know if you want to maybe kind of improv there, and I'll let you take it wherever you want.
Wow, that's difficult to do because I honestly don't know where to start. But maybe I can just like start talking and see how it flows.
Yeah. Let's improv.
Soft skills, man. To me, the most important part of any job, especially marketers, because you're always experimenting. Even though we look at data, we look at the quantitatives, we look at the benchmarks, we read the reports, we read the stats, the predictive analysis, and all of it. You never know what's gonna happen. You really never know. A couple of years ago, more maybe, ChatGPT came out. We'll talk about it for sure. It's changed everything we knew about marketing, all the tactics, everything, except the fundamentals. So, like being customer centric, looking into all these things. And this is why I like growth marketing and the strategies of it. But to go back to the soft skills, a big part of all the learnings that I was able to like grasp from my time at Growth Tribe were because of the soft skills. So because I was most of the time patient with the people that I was training to understand really what they're going through in terms of like their job roles, their strategy that they're trying, the strategies that they're trying to implement and all that. So once you maybe sometimes like take a step back, try to understand what's happening, you can then move into the actual practical and technical stuff. Other than that, just aligning with your coworkers, aligning with your manager. I know a lot of people suffer from like micromanagers or whatever. I once was super confused on what my manager wanted from me for a while, and I was pissed. I was pissed at him and I was pissed at myself. Of course, no one knew, but I decided that, you know what, man, just go and talk to him. So I went and talked to him, and we had like a great 1.5 hour walk where we just talked about the whole team and how he sees and perceives every single role of my teammates in the team and how he sees mine, and then what can we do to improve and the things that I'm passionate about. So it was just like a therapy session that got us to just clarify and see things how are supposed to be or how they really are, instead of just me perceiving and letting my negative thoughts go through the process. So these are big parts of soft skills. Your ability to be patient, your ability to take a step back, your ability to step in and talk to your coworkers and try to understand what's happening, and then realigning and trying again and again. It's all way more important than knowing how to run a Facebook sales campaign, conversion campaign, or whatever. So that you can just really Google and get.
No, that's very true. That's something I've learned the hard way as well. I used to be very much the person who, so let's say obviously I've worked at agencies, and you have like 10, 15 clients and you try to manage their expectations. And at the beginning I used to be very, very shy. I used to put the client on a pedestal above me. But then the relationship was more difficult because I was trying to please them, whereas I realized, listen, I have value here. I've been chosen to help grow your business. So I think having that internal confidence and saying, what's the actual problems? Like, is it performance? Is it the way of reporting? And I think it really goes back to, on the soft skill side, it's about clarity and, both good and the bad, right? You don't want to kind of sugarcoat things. And if there's issues, it's better just to directly say what's happening, because if not, if you just let it build up, the other person's probably not going to bring it up. So it's better as you, to lead in that, It's
absolutely
a good shout, man.
And sometimes you could both be, or like you and the stakeholder, excuse me, or whoever you're trying to connect with, could both be on totally different lines or waves, and you would have no idea. So a lot of the times, like, we would get feedback on like how the learning journey is going with the people that were trainings or the teams. And let's say midpoint, we would get some feedback on, we don't know how this is going to benefit us. I think I have way more experience than this. The examples don't apply to me. The concepts, I don't know if they're applicable, and so on. But then you actually, like, if you dig in and just sit and talk to that person, you'll realize that they're probably having one of the shittiest weeks of their lives. And they're just taking it out on you. Just realize that don't take things too personal. Of course, everything is personal. Even this podcast is personal.
Yeah.
Everything is personal, but don't take it too personal. Like sometimes if you just take a step back and try to like breathe and see how things go, especially for overly sensitive people like myself, then things become a little bit easier, and then you can it can help you just in understanding what the next step is.
Yeah, there's two good books on, like, you know, dealing with people and psychology. I don't know if you've read it. It's Robert Greene's The Laws of Human Nature and The Four Agreements. So those two books, it makes you get to see how people work. And let's say someone's frustrated, it's not because of you, actually. It might be because they feel insecure around you because you know a lot about marketing and they can't quite get it, so they, you know, ask you more questions.
Exactly.
So it's
exactly. Absolutely. No, I've heard of both of them. I haven't read them. I have the Four Agreements. I got it not too long ago. I've been wanting to read it, but I'm the type of person who cannot go into a new book before I finish the one that I'm already reading.
Fair enough.
So now I'm reading actually Be Water, My Friend by Shannon Lee, Bruce Lee's daughter.
Oh, dude, I just read that like 2 months ago. It's one of my top 5 books. I've read a lot of books. It's a really good book.
Absolutely amazing. I cannot recommend it enough.
Great
Whoever's
book,
listening, go give it a read. So yeah, but I'm gonna get into it for sure. Since we were talking about some books as well, definitely one of my favorites is How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Oh, right.
I'm not sure how many. I think it's Dale Carnegie, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
I absolutely love chapter 3. The big secret of dealing with people. I will quickly tell you what that secret is. It's telling them how important they are. That's it. Value, of course, in a genuine way, not in a manipulative way. Genuinely showing what value people bring to the table and expressing that. And I've learned a lot from that chapter. It stuck with me my whole life. I mean, since I've read it. And I try to apply it as much as possible because people value the things that they do best and that they are most passionate about. And if you hit that chord, genuinely I'm talking, of course it has to be very genuine. If you hit that chord, they're your friends forever. So imagine how well you can do with clients, with stakeholders, with your friends, if you keep that in mind. Yeah,
that's a good point, man. So I was going to ask about the term growth marketing.
Yeah.
You know, I personally learned about it in 2021, but for the audience listening, I guess, how do you differentiate digital marketing and growth marketing? Are they the same thing? Is growth marketing just a more kind of complicated way of doing digital marketing? Let's kind of go there.
It's actually the opposite. It's a more simplified way of doing marketing and digital marketing specifically, but marketing in general. The difference is very simple. You have a customer journey that is customer centric. So you put the customer at the center of your strategy, and then you build that journey, you map that journey out. And you say, okay, what are the steps that my customer is going to go through from the second they become aware of who you are and what you have to offer at the awareness stage until they hit the revenue stage, they become customers, and even after that with retention and referrals. So there are usually, the Pirate Funnel is a 6-step journey. Digital marketing is when you take care of the first couple of stages. How do you get the potential customers to become aware of who you are and what you have to offer, and how do you get them to sign up so you can keep nurturing them? Not just sign up, of course, but just take the next logical step, get them to become a little bit more interested. How do you do that so they can keep going through the journey itself? So the digital marketing activities usually happen mainly, most of them, at those first 2 stages.
Right.
And growth marketing happens across the full funnel. So growth marketing is basically just zooming in at every single stage, and figuring out where is the leak, what is happening, why is it happening, gather the data, turn it into valuable information, and use that information to gather ideas on how to experiment and improve every single stage for your customer, so you can keep getting happy customers all the time and getting the growth that you want, hence growth marketing. So I guess that's like the simplest way of explaining the full thing.
No, I love that. Actually, what you said about starting with the customer, That's a really good step one. It's not about the channels. It's not about the right keywords, the user experience, because that's the customer is the one who's going to go through those. It's not the other way around, you know.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
that's really good.
Sometimes growth marketing gets mistaken with growth hacking. A lot of people like join our courses and think that they're taking a growth hacking course, and I don't like the term hacking, but it was coined by Sean Ellis and Morgan Brown from the book Hacking Growth, which is a brilliant book, absolutely, but it's more about growth marketing. But there's no hacking. The hacking happens in the data part, when you actually learn how to gather that data, learn from it, and then hack your way into better ideas for experiments. But yeah, absolutely, it's definitely going back to the fundamentals, putting the customer at the center of your strategy, and then moving forward with, okay, let's see what works with that specific customer.
As a growth marketer, you know, you're across many different sections of the user journey, different channels, different skills, different teams, and you know, it can get overwhelming. And so I think the skill of wanting to learn, always be learning, is very important. I find with this YouTube venture that I'm working on now, when I teach, whether it's paid media, email marketing, or growth marketing, I realize that I'm actually learning also. What's your perspective in the fact that when you teach, you're actually learning also, you're internalizing it?
Absolutely. With everything that you teach, you get to learn it better than the person you're teaching. Because you're repeating it again and again and again, and repetition is everything when it comes to learning, I guess, with most people. Of course, you have your geniuses out there. You have people with photographic memory and everything like that. But usually the best way to learn is to just keep repeating. And I can tell you, because of how many times I have taught the fundamentals, the tactics at every single step of the pirate funnel, how to be customer centric, what is experimentation, the steps of that, I've memorized them, like, and I can apply that everywhere with every type of business in every industry. So I completely agree with you. The more you train, the more you learn. And because you're also training and teaching different people, and as I've mentioned at the beginning, you learn from every single one of those experiences as well, different job roles, different industries, how what you're teaching can be applied as well. If you're active in your communities, in your community, let's say growth marketing community, then you'll also connect with like-minded people, go to events, learn from them, and also teach as well. But yeah, totally agree with you.
Teaching is a great way to internalize it. And even though, obviously, I know a decent amount on the topics of digital marketing, growth marketing, but I'm actually still a student in the sense that I'm still learning. I watch you and Tarek's courses on Growth Tribe. You know, I'm a member, and it's there's something about repetition and also learning it from different people, because they'll teach it to you in maybe slightly different perspectives, and you really, without getting, I'm not a neuro scientist or whatever the term is, but that neural pathway gets stronger, you know, becomes something second nature to you. So
absolutely, you start recognizing patterns.
It's like music.
Exactly.
That's why musicians were quite good at learning, because you're learning rhythms and notes and pattern recognition, basically. Yeah. Exactly.
Pattern recognition, spatial reasoning, all that. It's just figuring out what is out there, what is in front of you, and how it connects. Especially if it's something that you're passionate about, it has to be that at the core.
What major trends do you see in growth marketing, or even in general? Because you get to obviously teach students. What kind of questions do they ask? What worries do they have? Kind of give us a bit of a breakdown there.
With growth marketing specifically, they most of the questions are, how can I apply this in my job role? How can I apply this to my business? Because we teach the concepts, we teach customer journeys, we teach customer centricity, the jobs to be done framework, and we then narrow that down and we zoom in on the stages, as I mentioned, and then we teach specific tactics. But we use a lot of use cases and case studies and examples on how those tactics can be applied. But most importantly, and I think that's one thing that differentiates us at Growth Tribe, is that when we're training, we inside or within the live sessions, we just I go into the tools and I show them how they can apply it and how to use this in their specific job roles. For example, with the freelancing project that I have right now, it's an e-commerce project. It's an e-commerce business, and the lady that I'm working with, she has like part of the product that she sells. She has two main personas: people who buy it as a gift for their loved ones, and the people who buy it for themselves. The people who buy it as a gift for their loved ones, they attach their gift notes with it to every product they buy. So what we did was I went in to the Shopify application that we can extract the gift notes from, and I extracted those notes, and I just put them in a sheet, and in the column next to that, I just assigned the country that they bought it from. And of course, I removed all the personal information, emails, names, all that. And I just wanted to see what the main analysis was.
Right.
So I just extracted those notes, put in the countries, and I uploaded that to ChatGPT. And I was like, create a full persona analysis for that specific persona after giving it a lot of details on that. And I can tell you, it's like magic.
That's crazy, man. That's a hack.
It's a hack. Yeah, it's a hack. But it's how AI can help nowadays. I mean, that idea we used to teach also, like dig into your qualitative data, see what the feedback is, see what the notes are, analyze the patterns of the tone of voice and all that. But for us to do that 3 years ago, it would take 2 to 3 weeks.
Yeah.
If you want to do it like properly and make sure that the data is correct, double check it and all that.
Assuming you can even get the data, right? Because that's another challenge, if you can even have access to the data. You know?
That too, exactly. Which is one of the main major points as well in growth marketing nowadays as well. But I got all this in a day, in less than an hour actually. I had a full analysis on the tone of voice, the type of personas, the difference between the sentimental analysis between the countries, because like there were patterns on how gift notes were written in German, in Germany versus the ones that were written in the Netherlands versus the ones that were written in Switzerland. So it was crazy, and there were things that I didn't even like consider as well, like were part of the analysis that ChatGPT offered as well. That's one example. AI is accelerating and making things so much more efficient. Of course, there are so many things to be aware of, like personal data and all that. But if you know your way around some of the tools nowadays, your life as a marketer is going to be so much easier.
Yeah, for sure. I like what you said way back about, you know, it's exciting to hear about AI and automation, but it's really all about fundamentals, because the way what you've done there was very interesting, because that, you know, analyzing that data, that is a marketing principle, understanding your customers, right? So I think, as for the listeners out there, my perspective would be learn fundamentals, but also utilize AI to extend that, not the other way around, where you use AI as a way to be a better marketer. Actually, in a way, you have to be a decent marketer already to actually, you know, find value in AI. So absolutely. It's like getting a Ferrari before learning how to drive. Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's an awesome car, don't get me wrong, but it's just gonna be there for you to look at if you don't know how to drive. So just learn how to drive first, and then whatever tool you can get to help you speed up the process, make it more efficient, all that, by all means use it. But you have to learn the fundamentals first. There's no way around it. No way. Even 100%. If we get like the best tool out there, there's no way around it. Yeah.
I was going to ask you, because you've obviously taught a lot of different growth marketers. You've also worked with different agencies, different clients. What are some typical challenges that you face? And then maybe give us an overview of how what you took to kind of solve those problems. One you mentioned was already like friction with a client or a boss. That's quite a good one. Any other kind of challenges you face?
Convincing is a big one, and this is where like soft skills come in. Words are very powerful, so the most important part is be genuine, I would say, even though it's super hard nowadays, because you just wanna get your point across and get the deal done and signed. But communication is super, super important, and this boils back again to the fundamentals. So if you know who you're talking to, even if it's a potential client, go into their LinkedIn account, check out what kind of person they are, use a tool called Crystal Knows, see what type of personality they have. When you're meeting with them, it will give you some ideas on what to say, what not to say. Some people prefer going into the details. Some people prefer to keep a general view on those things. So some people are flexible, others never would reschedule a meeting. So just make sure that you know the person you're talking to, and then adapt to that. Don't change yourself and the way you talk and all those things, but just adapt what you say to make sure that they understand and there's clarity, so there's no miscommunication between you and the stakeholder. That was like one of the biggest things that I had to learn, especially in the first year, because we had way more B2C clients than B2B. Now we're focusing more on B2B. But with B2C, you have a lot of different perspectives and a lot of different people in one cohort that you have to adapt your communication to. So I think that's probably the main challenge.
Yeah. No, I like that. I like the theme of this convo. It's about sometimes just being a human being. I think sometimes when you're, especially B2B, everyone has their different priorities and you're just another person in the machine, But I find this is my approach. I find the relationship is better when, listen, I've got these things that I have issues with and I'm not perfect. I'm good at this, like just having that human element, it just makes the relationship so much easier. I think if day one I'm like, hey, I know I've been doing digital marketing for a decade, ABC, I don't know, that maybe it goes back to the book you mentioned, How to Win Friends and Influence People. It's like they want to know subconsciously maybe that, oh, this person's a human too. It's not like, it's not a robot, this is a person behind the screen. So yeah, I love that, man.
Absolutely. I can give you another example, like there has been some instances with B2B teams that we're training where they come in and they're like, yeah, how do you apply awareness channels? In our case, we're B2B. We get a brief with 300 pages of a PDF. We have to analyze it and then get back to the client. It's way more complex than a 6-step journey and so on. And they just shut their perspectives on like learning something new or how those steps or stages can be applied even to a 300 page PDF brief. So compared to working with NGOs or with companies that are in the sustainability sector and all that, they are in to just learn how they can do their jobs better, and they come in with such an open mind that they just want to learn, and anything that they get out of the course they're happy with and they're satisfied, just because they know that this is already a progress.
Right.
So you have way too different types of individuals and learners here, and you also need to adapt to both. Of course, it's much easier and impactful with the one with an open mind, but you still want to deliver and be able to impact the one with a bit of a more closed mind, I would say, or fixed mindset.
Yeah, you kind of adapt to the client. Yeah, that's a good point. I've noticed that to be true. It's a bit of a cliche, but I won't name any brands, but sometimes if, let's say I worked on fintech or financial client, as opposed to, let's say, e-commerce, the finance clients, they tend to be not less human, but it's a bit more, let's just say it's a bit more corporate formal, whereas e-commerce or maybe a standard B2C type company like a dating app, for example, or gaming app, it's different. So yeah, I think you be yourself, but you kind of show a different angle of who you are. You can't just always be just you 100%. There's a bit of a game you play.
Exactly. It's while keeping genuine, of course. But you also get to learn a lot about yourself. Like, okay, maybe I do have a good approach of like convincing a really tough fixed mindset client, or I know that I'm lacking in that area. Let me see how I can improve. So there's always a lot to learn and a lot to improve, but while also celebrating the wins and what you can do to impact.
I want to geek out on tools.
Go ahead.
What's your favorite, let's say, top 3, 4, or 5 growth marketing tools? You can't use ChatGPT because
I was gonna say top 5 are ChatGPT, but no, let's.
You mentioned what's that tool?
Crystal Nose.
Crystal Nose. I've never heard of that.
Crystal Nose is an awesome tool, actually. By the way, I'm like we are never affiliated with any of those tools. We just use them because they're our favorites. It's a Chrome extension. You go in, you sign up, you get 10 free trials to analyze 10 profiles on LinkedIn. So you go into your LinkedIn profile, my LinkedIn profile, and you just click on view personality. And when you do, it will give you a full analysis on the type of personality that this person has, and a lot of suggestions on what to do if you want to give them a call, if you want to, if you are preparing for a meeting with them, if you want to email them, what to say, what not to say, what to expect and what not to expect in the meeting, and so on. So there's a lot of cool qualitative data, I would say, that you can get on your persona, and we used to share this as well. Another tool is SparkToro for kind of like competitor analysis, but also for external data. So you can just say, find some information on the people who visit that specific website, let's say growthtribe.io or nike.com or anything. So and you'll get a full analysis on it with like different competitors, main keywords, main hashtags, main awareness channels, main social media channels, what other YouTube channels, what other podcasts they listen to. So you also get a lot of quantitative but also qualitative data too.
That's awesome.
So that's SparkToro. I absolutely love SEMrush or SEMrush, a lot of people call it. I think it's such a powerful tool, and it has a lot of valuable data, and it goes into the details of it, and not just the overview tool that gives you an overview on a website, but also like the topic research tool that helps you figure out what kind of topics for content marketing to talk about, to develop. It gives you a mind map, stuff like that. So very, very powerful tool. Maybe I'll share one more user testing tool. It's called Listener. Used to be called Usability Hub. People like you and me sign up to that tool to become testers, and this tool offers a lot of tests. So let's say you want to run a Facebook campaign, you're not sure which visual is best, so you actually put both of them, you create a preference test, and you ask 10 people what they think, which one is better and why. So before you go in and you start the campaign, wait 3-4 days for it to run and start to give you the statistical significance and the data and so on, you get a sneak peek of what people or how people will perceive this as testers or as...
Oh wow, that's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Do you get to choose like the type of demographic, or is it kind of...
Yes, you can choose the type of demographics. It will cost a little bit more.
Yeah.
It's not a free tool, but there is a free option where you can create the test, get the link, and share it with your network. Like share it on LinkedIn, share it with your friends, share it with whoever you want. And then these people can give you their feedback for free. So internal internal testing is free, external is not.
Right. Those are cool, man. Yeah.
Yeah, really cool tools. I like them a lot.
Yeah. So let's talk about learning. Because obviously you work at Growth Tribe, you teach a lot, but how do you personally learn? Do you read like a lot of books, courses, or people you follow?
I used to read more, to be honest, books specifically. But nowadays it's more about just like keeping up. It's tough and sometimes it's frustrating.
Yeah.
But because of what's happening and how quickly it's happening and everything is like changing really quickly, I rely on two main tools. One is a newsletter for my like go straight to my email, and it gives me the daily updates 5 times a week except the weekends. And another one, the newsletter is called Stacked Marketer, if you want to share it, or for people to sign up to it. I personally like it. Again, I'm not affiliated with it. The other tool is Feedly. So Feedly is an aggregator of your favorite websites, and whenever one of those websites publishes an article or anything or any type of news or update, you get notified, and then you can read what that is. I never read everything, of course.
Just skim over it. That's awesome, man. Yeah, I'll check them out. Let's say I know you mentioned you studied, was it business management and finance?
Yes.
It's very unrelated to marketing.
Yeah.
Actually, related in a way, I guess.
Yeah.
Let's say someone's like at university right now, or maybe they're in sales, they're in a different profession, and they want to get into growth marketing. What would be your like top level advice, and what skills should they learn first?
First, don't overthink it, and don't think that there's something that you can't learn. Funny story, I wanted to major in financial engineering before I changed majors to business management.
Oh, wow. That would have been such a different life.
Exactly, different life. But I hated it so much that I just had to change majors. And I still, during my time at the university, I still had no idea what was going to happen, what type of job I'll land into, what type of industry, and so on. And that, back then, it was horrible. It was so frustrating. But now looking back at it, it's fine. It's okay. Like, things will turn out fine, and as long as you just like keep a straight head and just keep learning and experimenting, be a little bit curious. I know it's tougher for introverts than extroverts. Being an introvert myself, it's tough to like jump into unknown territories, but just give it a go, see what works for you, experiment, see what doesn't, and then you'll just see what is relevant to you, and if it's something that you can be passionate about as well, then that's the la crème de la crème. But just focus on learning, be a little bit curious, and then move into choose something but stick to it. That would be also my advice. Don't keep moving from one industry to another, because you're going to want to become an expert in one or two skills. Right. You don't want to just always be that person who has an overview over everything but not really an expert in one or two things. This will help you a lot with your career later.
Yeah, that's good advice, man. It's a good balance of, learning many different things, but also going deep in one thing. It's like that phrase, a T-shaped marketer, which is, what's T-shaped marketer, or a T-shaped person for people who have never heard of it?
Yeah, T-shaped individual is very simple. You are an expert in one or two fields, but you also know a little about the rest of the lot. So if you take me as an example, I'm an expert in growth strategies. I'm a public speaker as well. I've been doing it for the past 4 or 5 years. I can say that I'm an expert in it. But I know a little about the growth mindset, experimentation, data analysis, tools-based marketing, growth loops, referral, revenue marketing, stuff like that. I can definitely jump into conversations and share my opinion on them. And even when it comes to growth strategies and public speaking, I'm your man, So these two main skills help me stay in the job that I'm at and also excel in it, thankfully. And public speaking also helped me jump into events. A couple of weeks ago, we were in Bucharest for the How to Web conference. It was one of the most amazing events and best organized events out there. So definitely recommended for marketers and startups as well. Yeah, Tara and I were both there. We had 20-minute slots to as speakers to speak, and it was a lot of fun as well. So
by the way, you're the first person I know who's an introvert who does public speaking. That's that's pretty cool.
It's tough, man. It's tough.
Yeah.
I can definitely tell you.
What goes through your mind 5 minutes before you do you have a script? How do you go into it, or there's a Google slide?
Preparation is of course a big part of it, but after many years of talking about the same subjects, even though it's in different manners, different ways, different presentations and all that, you become a little bit more accustomed to it. And butterflies are always gonna hit the stomach, especially 5 minutes before you go on stage. But once you're up there, you're doing your thing, it's okay, it's fine. And the best feeling is when you're done. Yeah.
Just like music when you're performing, once you're in the middle, it kind of, I'm fine now. Then after it's phew, I'm glad it's over.
Exactly.
Yeah. So closing off, Ala, what's your prediction in terms of I guess generally, but also in the world of growth marketing? What do you see changing in the next maybe 5-10 years?
So tough to predict. But I mean, I had no idea that ChatGPT or generative AI will pop up and change the way we use tools and become efficient in marketing and all other fields. So that's one thing. I think it's gonna keep on advancing. So let's maybe stick to that. The way I see it is that AI and Gen AI is still a baby. It's still a baby that is probably a couple of months old. Learning how to eat, how to breathe, how to open their eyes. You can imagine what will happen when that toddler or when that baby starts walking, starts learning its first steps and
starts
stuff.
Thinking for itself. Yeah.
Exactly, starts thinking for itself, starts experimenting here and there. I really don't know what to expect. I can only say that it's super exciting to me. It's also very scary, but it's super exciting. What I can maybe predict is that it's kind of like the internet. When it first came out, a lot of people said that, yeah, it's just a fad, it's gonna pass, people are giving up on it, it's not gonna work, blah blah. And imagine our world today without the internet. Same thing with Gen AI, in my opinion. A lot of people now are saying that, it's not gonna work with every field, and we're not sure how it can be applied here and there. Don't be sure, that's totally fine. I'm not sure, I have no idea as well, but it's gonna be there. It's here to stay. It's definitely here to stay. But how it develops and what other areas and industries it takes over, I really don't know. So I predict that it keeps on developing.
Right.
Just make sure that you are staying updated and keeping score with what's happening and all the changes, because you're going to want to know what is happening so you can adapt to it. If I didn't stay up to date and know what was happening with different tools and how to use analysis with ChatGPT and so on, I wouldn't be able to keep my job and keep training people on that.
That's a good point.
So learn those tools, keep an open mind, and just have faith.
Yeah, have faith everything will work out. Yeah. That's awesome, man. Thanks, Allah. Where can people find you, and anything you want to promote?
LinkedIn, if they want to reach out. Even though I've the past week I was taking a little bit of screen break, especially from
digital
from
minimalism.
Yeah, kind of. I needed it. But they can definitely reach out on LinkedIn. They can find me under my name, Alain Abou-Atmeh, or you can also share.
I'll add it to the show notes. Yeah.
But yeah, feel free to reach out if anyone has questions on growth marketing specifically.
Sounds good.
Or music.
Or music, yeah. We'll talk about that as well.
Yeah.
Cool. Awesome, Ella. Have a good week. We'll speak soon, man.
Thanks a lot, Jonathan. It was a pleasure, and we'll talk soon. Have a good one.
Thank you.
Cheers.